I'm not hearing anything, JP.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Now, here's four-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, BJ Rains here. Welcome to the James. We're broadcasting live the Cutwater Can Cocktail Studios today at the James. You can see Boise State, the football stadium, Albertson Stadium behind me, and going to have a lot of fun here at the James. Make sure you get out here. They open at 3 o'clock. They've got happy hour from 3 to 5:30. A lot of great things going on here at the James. And a week from yesterday, they're going to start serving food. So they're changing the name up. They're going to have a full menu. You can come eat, have some drinks. This is going to be the perfect spot for your pregame, postgame Boise State game spots. So you can see how close it is to the stadium right there. It's literally going on. So Mike Prater is here. We welcome him in. And Mike, happy Thursday to you. Saw you over at practice. We'll see how the Wi-Fi hangs on here. But over here at the James, man, missing you.
BJ, I didn't get an invitation to the James. I'm stuck in a dark studio with JP over here. What? You're on the patio. It's a beautiful morning in Boise, Idaho. College football 16 days away. And where's my invitation to the James?
You had an invitation. You got more important things to do back in the studio, I guess. So
we're stupid work meetings.
We're making this work, again, dealing with some internet the best we can here moving forward. But you were out at practice today, Mike. We're about halfway through fall camp. What were your impressions today as every day we're a day closer to that first game?
Well, I spent most of my time, unfortunately, I spent a lot of my time chatting with other fellows, and I didn't pay a lot of attention today, which is terrible. But there was about a 12-minute period where I focused in on that first-team offense. They did some 11-on-11 drills at practice this morning, and just kind of dialing in on the offense. And they've clearly decided on their starters for this offense. The offensive line has been together from day one. It's the same 5 guys. They've come through camp healthy so far. They're working together. When they're not lined up together, they're hanging out on the sideline together. There's Hank. There's George. There's all the right people. So this offense, they've been working together as a number one unit for a couple of weeks now. And I don't see any hiccups in their progress whatsoever. So the offense, to me, looks like it's clicking. It's healthier than it's ever been, and I can't wait to see what they can do against the Beavers on the 3rd.
I think the intensity level keeps going up, Mike, the energy level. We saw some dancing today. We saw some guys out there dancing. Tyrik Jones is letting it go, and the whole team was getting into it. Kind of like the vibe today, Mike. It seemed like, for whatever reason, today it seemed a little more energetic and upbeat than some days.
There did seem to be a little bit of and maybe that's why I ended up in a couple of conversations and just kind of lost track. It did seem to be a little bit lighter of a mood today. It wasn't quite as hot, even though it's supposed to be 100+ degrees again today. There was a little cloud cover and there was a little shade. So maybe there was a little bit more extra energy. Maybe they got a fired up speech this morning. They're kind of hitting the dog days of camp where you start losing some of your focus. You start losing some of your physical and mental edges, and maybe they were just trying to have a little bit more fun today. But I did notice a little extra vibe today, a little bit more fun at training camp this morning.
Yeah, they were in shoulder pads and helmets. It was not full pads, didn't have pants on today. We got our first look at the O-line as well, Mike. We went over in that corner. They had, for the first part of camp, been keeping us on the opposite side of the O-line. We were able to go into the corner and kind of watch them do some drills with Tim Keene. And we've talked about it a lot, Mike, but that O-line, I think I'm very bullish on. I think that group has a chance to be much improved, which I think means this offense and this team is going to be much improved.
They have focused on 8 players throughout fall camp. That's their hardcore, 8 players. And we know that the starting 5 is going to, it's going to be Ojukwu, Curran, KHG, Dooley, and Beresford across the board. Those guys haven't moved. That's your starting 5 with Farah is the kind of the inside replacement. He can play left guard, right guard, center. And then you got Holiday playing guard. You got Randolph playing a little tackle. That's your core group. And it's the same today as it was when camp opened up a couple of weeks ago. They're getting all the number 1 reps. They're not even working around those guys. So I think this offensive line is locked. I think it's loaded. Now they just have to stay injury free. They have to do a lot of things that you don't expect from an offensive line. So, but so far, so good for the offensive line.
Somebody had asked about impressive players so far during camp, and we get to watch about 30 minutes, Mike. We don't get to watch the entire practice. We don't even get to watch every practice. We haven't seen the scrimmages, but is there a name or two that stood out from coaches or players to this point, or that you've noticed in terms of their size, or maybe where their standing is on the layup line, so to speak, in terms of the depth chart on some of these drills? Has there been an early guy or two that stood out to you this camp?
Well, the one competition and earlier this week on Idaho Sports Talk, we talked a lot about the 5 or 6 intense position battles that are going on at Boise State. The one that I've been looking at the most is nose tackle, Gums and Cravens. And I listen to a lot of coach speak because you're right. We go to practice and we spend about 40 minutes there. The first 20 minutes, they're doing the same calisthenics and stretching out drills. Then they run some 11 on 11 and a couple of drills here. We don't get to see much. But I put a lot of stock into what the coaches are saying. I've heard Herbert Gums' name a lot this fall camp. I've heard Jackson Craven's name a lot this fall camp. And I think that nose tackle position is going to be really intense. They can probably end up playing both. You know how the defensive line works. It's like a hockey line shift, 2 or 3 different groups coming in and out. So they've got the dependable depth, but Gums and Cravens, the coaches can't stop talking about either one of those guys.
Looking forward today after practice, Mike. We're going to talk with Isaiah Banya, how that will linebacker transition is going for him. That's one of the storylines, too. Who's going to win that starting spot at will linebacker?
And I think that's even 3 deep with Schramm. They loved on Schramm last week. They put him out in front of the media. They talked a lot about Schramm. We all kind of thought maybe Banya was going to be the slam dunk there. Not even close. As a matter of fact, throw in Hawkins as well. Hawkins is the number 3 guy in that position. The weak side linebacker that's going to essentially replace Riley Wimpy is a three-person battle with even Simpson in there as the number 4 guy. So Noah's locked up in the middle on the Mike side, and on the weak side, I think there's a pretty intense battle. I think we're going to see a lot of rotation there as well. I don't think we're going to see a steady dose of Banya and Schramm and Hawkins. We'll see some rotation in that position as well.
And what do you make? We talked to Tyrik Jones the other day, and man, that guy's just a heck of a guy to talk to. You can tell why all of his teammates love him. You saw him out there in the video we just posted of him dancing at practice, rapping and stuff. But he just seems like the consummate team player, the consummate pro. And we don't root for guys. We're obviously neutral in terms of rooting for Boise State, so to speak, but there's individuals. Scott Matlock's one for me. Tyrik Jones is another one, man, where it's just easy to want to see that guy do well. He's a heck of a guy, and for him to move to nickel and what'd you make of what he talked about, his transition there, and that he was actually one of the guys that first went to the coaches after a spring practice and said, keep me there. And then I thought the whole side story of him, reaching out to Kekala Kaniho and wanting to have him help give him film study and sessions and things like that was a big deal as well. I think that defense, we talk about Banya moving, but I think Tyrik Jones moving to nickel is going to be a big story as well.
Oh, I think it's going to be maybe the number 1 story. And yesterday on Idaho Sports Talk, we did talk about the most exciting, the player that we're most interested in seeing. And Tyrik Jones is high on that list for me. The nickel position is the same as that field safety position, but it gets you closer to the offense or the line of scrimmage. And if you're going to put one of your best playmakers, and I think there's a chance that Tyrik Jones could be just as good, if not a better playmaker than Jale Skinner, who gets all the hype. So why not take Tyrik Jones, put him closer to the line of scrimmage? And I've written down a bunch of words that coaches have said. This is what's expected out of the nickel position. You have to cover, you have to blitz, you have to go deep, you have to play man, you have to play zone, you have to play inside, you have to play outside. And on top of that, they've thrown out the word vocal, leadership, and smart several times about Tyrik Jones. If you're looking at a football player and 100 boxes to check, I think he checks 99 of them, and I'm not even sure which one he doesn't check.
Do you have a leader yet? Have you heard enough or seen enough to have a leader at the safety spot replacing him, whether it be Rodney Robinson or Shea Oladipo?
I think Oladipo and Robinson, to me, are in one of those 5 or 6 intense position battles. And in talking to Beeler today, too, and, I didn't see a ton of specifics, and the coaches have told us that the nickel position and the field safety position, which is what that's where Oladipo and Robinson are very interchangeable. And Tyrik Jones is moving around a little bit today. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a combination of a couple of safeties, a couple of linebackers. I think Boise State is playing with a defense where in the middle, they can mix and match a lot of different parts. And Tyrik Jones can fit in a couple of those. Maybe Oladipo and Robinson can play a linebacker role for a couple. I really think that the weak side, the middle, the nickel, and the field side safety, those guys are going to work in conjunction. And when the season comes around on September 3rd and beyond, we're going to see a lot of different combinations in the middle of that defense.
Hey, we'll talk offense in a second, but first want to thank a couple of our great sponsors here. Ropaint.com, whether you're looking for your garage, your back patio, if you're looking for that new concrete coating, it's 4 times stronger than epoxy. They can also do residential, commercial painting. Check them out, roepaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union, see why over 500,000 members love Idaho Central Credit Union. I'm not very good at math, Mike, but that's 1 in 4 Idahoans that are members of Idaho Central Credit Union. You can manage your Idaho Central Credit Union accounts online, anytime, anywhere with eBranch Mobile and online banking. You can learn more at IdahoCentralCreditUnion.com. Lithia Ford of Boise, appreciate them as well. The Rains family owns a new truck, which we purchased from Lithia Ford of Boise. So happy about that. There's the happy family there on the screen with our new truck. Very thankful to Kim, the salesperson, for helping us out. Jim Sturk, the whole crew over there. Had a great experience, and it was quick and easy, and we test drove a couple and found the one we liked. So head on over to Lithia Ford of Boise. You won't be disappointed if you check out their great deals going on now. Great, friendly staff. We appreciate the support from Lithia Ford of Boise. We mentioned the defense, and again, if you have a question or a comment, feel free to get those in here on the comment line on YouTube or on Facebook. We'll get to some of those. Ryan is trying to hitch a ride to the Oregon State game. If anybody's driving to the Oregon State game and has an extra spot, can take an extra body. Maybe Ryan will throw in some gas money there. So check out what he's got going on. I
love guys like Ryan just reaching out looking for a ride. That's my kind of dude. If I was driving over Ryan, I'd find a spot for you. But I hope that works out.
The offense won't know who's playing what or where. Back to the second half shutout. So already a negative offensive post coming in here about I guess he's talking defense. Maybe they're not going to know where the defensive guys are playing for Boise State. And he says back to the second half shutouts. They had a pretty good run last year, Mike, of the defense in the second half really going down. Well, I wanted to talk offense, but the defensive questions keep coming in, so we'll stick there for a second. JT Belknap, what do you make of the 6'4" Skinner possibly playing alongside the 5'8" Robinson?
That is an interesting combination, and that will happen. We'll see plenty of that on the football field. I think a lot of it's going to be Oladipo as well, but we're going to see Robinson and Skinner out there together. I need to see that photo. Let's see if we can arrange that photo shoot at some time before the season starts. That'd be kind of fun, but it'll be different to see out there. Different skill sets, different players, but the coaches obviously like him or they wouldn't have put him in that position.
Ryan says definitely helping for gas money. So, yeah, if you want some help on the gas money, Ryan says
come on, he's in. Somebody help Ryan out. Somebody help this dude out.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk offense. We were down there at that end of the field where the offense was for practice. We saw the quarterbacks throwing to some receivers. We saw some different things. I mentioned the O-line. Is there a guy or two on the offensive side of the ball that stood out? You mentioned Herbert Gums and Cravens and some of the guys on the defensive side, but Ashton Genty continues to get a ton of praise. He does just physically look different than most freshmen do. Whether it's the quarterback battle, what we've talked about at receiver, what stands out to you, midway through camp about the offense?
Yeah, the only real question. I mean, we're going to see some surprises. There's always surprises coming out of camp. There's going to be some formations and some players and some depth chart stuff that we'll see on September 3rd. That'll be a little bit of a minor surprise. Other than that, though, I think the offense is really, really set and somewhat, not how they're going to do it, but the way they're going to do it is somewhat predictable. The one area where I cannot wait to see how it shakes out is at wide receiver, because they're going to go 4 deep, maybe 5. We saw Austin Bolt out there. He was trying to catch a big old bomb pass from Taylor Green. That would have been a social media highlight today if they could have pulled that off of practice. They just didn't quite connect. But Cobbs, Bowens, Cutter, Caples, Bolt, how is that rotation going to play out? Is Cobbs going to be the number one guy? Could Bowens potentially be the number one guy? I'm a big Bowens guy, so I'm locking into Bowens this year and seeing what he can do. Cobbs might be your number one returner on punts and kicks. We'll see how he does on that side of the deal, but I just cannot wait to see how the wide receiver progression falls out, and we won't even know the end of that until the end of the season in terms of how the stats. It'll be a lot like the 2019 season, which I've said before, Hank Bachmeier's best, most productive season at Boise State, where he really distributed the ball to 6 different people. 4 wide receivers had between 30 and 65 catches. George Halani and a tight end. They were all in there, and I think that that's the kind of rotation and production we're looking at from the offense this year.
Vlad says if Hank has another second to go through his progressions, he's going to have a big year. All he needs is a window. So that O-line, maybe giving him an extra second, Vlad thinks will pay off.
I think Vlad's 100% spot on, and I expect to see that this year. Hank Bachmeier is going to be better this year because he's been better every year that he's played. But how much better? Can he take this step where he's going to be a dynamic passer and a dynamic quarterback where the fans finally respond to this 4-year starter? Or is he going to just take that small trajectory step that he's taken his entire career? 4th-year starter, expectations are high, but I think Hank Bachmeier, because of this line, but it also depends on 2 things. George Halani, more than anything else, has to stay healthy, and this offensive line has to stay healthy. The chances that both of them stay healthy, that's not football, BJ.
What do you make of the backup quarterback battle? JT asks, he says, something I've noticed, Vidlak throws a really pretty ball. I would say the same thing about Taylor Green. I mean, he throws a really nice, strong ball as well. Have you been able to decipher it much? I mean, Andy, after the last scrimmage, said they both split the second-team reps in the scrimmage. They're both right there. He said this was going to be a big week, obviously going into the second scrimmage on Saturday. Where are you at on the backup quarterback spot?
My untrained observation eye with those 2, they both throw a beautiful ball. I mean, all 3 of these quarterbacks are beautiful in practice. Taylor Green almost has this whiplash, and I know they're trying to work on his mechanics, but almost like this slingshot whiplash type of arm, and he can throw it, 70 yards probably. Sam Vidlak is more of your, even though he doesn't look like it because he's a smaller guy, is the traditional pocket passer with the quick, compact, tight release that's going to come out and just zing and break a finger or 2 when it comes to the wide receiver. So I think that they throw beautiful balls, but they just do it in different ways. And I think that that's exactly what they bring to the table with this quarterback position. I don't think the coaches know who's number 2 or who's number 3. And I think it's going to be based on situations. Do I need a quarterback for a play, a series, a quarter, a game, or a full season? I think the answer is going to be different depending on what that question is.
Hey, Mike, we saw Travis Hawks out at practice today. Make sure to check out the Blue and Orange store for all your Boise State gear. Get ready for the season. Make sure you have that blue. Blue is the color to wear over at the Oregon State game. So check out blueandorangestore.com. You get free shipping on any order over $40, or you can check them out at the Boise Town Square Mall as well. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. Make sure to check them out. The home shopping, the Skip app, the home delivery, all that great stuff. 13 Idaho locations. You can find one near you at shopridleys.com. United Commercial Insurance, they can write business policy insurance in 44 states around the country. They're based right here in the Treasure Valley. Bronco Nation News has our workers' comp insurance through them. The process was easy and quick, and I highly recommend them. So if you're looking to save some money on business insurance, quick call could save you hundreds of dollars. 229-8222 at United Commercial Insurance. And Boise Dentistry Co. My kids were just there last week, and Prater, I have video. I should have put it on the screen here. Maybe I will next time. But one of my kids, Naismith, had a tooth pulled by Dr. Meinert there. So we'll see if we can get the video. I keep forgetting to put it up there, but full family dentistry. It's fun to go to the dentist. They do a great job there, and they're big local, support the local economy, support the local athletic scene. So check them out, BoiseDentistryCo.com. Got a comment about the tight end group. Mike, what's your breakdown of the tight end group point so far the tight end group to this point?
I want to make Riley Smith the number 1 guy, but I've been doing that for a couple of years. I personally like this guy an awful lot, and I like the way he conducts his business, and I like where he came from in his background. I've been expecting a bust-out season. Well, I expected it last year, frankly, and it didn't happen. I think Smith and Hopper are going to be tight end 1 and tight end 2, and it could be interchangeable. And I think Rafdahl is going to play this niche role, maybe a goal line role, a power fullback tight end kind of guy. Everything with all 3 of these starts with blocking, and if there's issues on the offensive line, the production from the tight end room is going to have to go down because their priority will be blocking and taking care of those edges. But I think Smith's going to have a good year. His production is going to rise. I think Hopper, I like this guy. I think his ceiling might be the highest of all 3 of these, and I can't wait to see what he does. And Rafdahl is just a beast.
He's Mike Prater. I'm BJ Rains. We are broadcasting outside of Albertson Stadium. You can see the stadium behind me. Might be freezing up a little bit, so I apologize if we're having any internet issues. But if you got a question or comment for Mike, we got about 10 minutes left. Get those in, and make sure you come down to the James, 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock is when the James opens for happy hour from 3 to 5:30. Get a cocktail after work. Stop on by. It's a great spot. They got this great patio on the second floor here. They'll have the fire pits going. And, again, it's going to be a perfect spot just, half a block or so from the stadium come game day. So we appreciate our partnership with the James. We got some cool announcements, Mike, about some post-game shows and things that may be happening here at the James on a regular basis moving forward. So
Nice.
Thanks to Barry and the crew there. Make sure you check out their the James, their signature cocktail, the Old Fashioned. Has notes of vanilla and figs, the best drink ever made. Come check out the James Old Fashioned, and we appreciate them for helping us out here. And
BJ, I can tell you, I've had the great fortune of spending a couple of afternoons in the James. It is the best, and I don't know why I'm an expert on this, but it is the best cocktail menu in Boise. It's the cocktail menu is spectacular. It's unique. It's beautiful. I guess I'm throwing them an extra plug because I like the place, but the cocktail menu, it's a good one, BJ.
It is very nice. And starting in 6 days, they're going to have a food menu as well, Mike. They'll have a full meals and dinners and things. So full menu. So it's not just going to be a whiskey bar. You can come get a full meal starting next week. So make sure you check them out at the James. Andy Hill's asking about Talon Green. Says he thinks he's a better fit with what the offensive coordinator wants to do. Athletic as heck and fast. Hank needs to keep the ball a couple of times to keep the D honest. He agrees if Hank can get some time in the pocket, he could have a special year. What do you make of which quarterback, Vidlac or Green, might fit better in Tim Plow's offense and how that affects that number 2 spot?
Well, when Tim Plow showed up and he wants to, hang a half 100 and do the 50-point thing and this up-tempo thing, it just didn't quite work last year because of the personnel. If he gets the exact offense that he wants, then Talon Green can't do it. But it's more than just about being athletic. I don't think Tim Plow necessarily wants a dual threat quarterback to be number 1 unless he's some kind of a rock star at it. And Talon Green's not a rock star yet. He's not a complete quarterback or he would be out there. So I think he adds certain elements, and Tim Plow will add those certain elements into his game plan with Talon Green. He brings a beautiful, skill set. He's the second fastest player on the team behind Austin Bolt. Are you kidding me? I need to see some Talon Green on the field this year, but if Boise State needs a more of a permanent number 2 quarterback, I wouldn't be surprised if they went with Sam Vidlac.
I'm still going 3.5 is my number. I've said that since the summer. 3.5 is the offensive snaps per game for Talon Green. If I put the number at 3.5, are you leaning one way or the other at this point midway through fall camp?
If you put the whole season, I mean, it might be 6 in one game and 0 in another. I don't think he's going to play in every single game, but over the course of the season, 12, 13, 14 games times 3.5 plays, I think 3.5 will be about the average, yes, unless, of course, Hank gets injured.
Hey, I want to talk, Mike, about the news of the Big Ten and their TV media rights deal here to wrap up the show. But first, got one more group of sponsors to tell you about. Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate, the number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. Make sure to check them out, BauscherRealEstate.com. Timberstone Golf Course, play Timberstone.com to book that tee time. It's a perfect time. The weather's starting to cool down a little bit, maybe just by a degree or two, but it's cooling down. Get out there, Timberstone Golf Course. You're not going to be disappointed. Play Timberstone.com. And, of course, Westside Pizza. You can use that promo code BNN25 and get 25% off your entire order at Westside Pizza. So check them out, westsidepizza.com, and use the promo code BNN25. You get 25% off your order at Westside Pizza. We appreciate their support of Bronco Nation News. And if you're looking to get into the trucking industry, you want to be an Amazon driver, there's a lot of different things you could do. Check out TCS, Transportation Compliance Service. It's friend of mine, Jeff Minert, does a great job running the company. And again, it could be everything from a big rig to one of those little Amazon trucks. Check them out, transcomservice.com. They can help you get all the permits, all the things you need to get out there towing that first load in no time. That's transcomservice.com. We got OK Bro Chill saying T Green's going to have 8 per game at least. Andy Hill saying, I'd like to see Green get more reps, see what he brings to the table. So, yeah, Talon Green, I'm high on him. I don't think you leave the second fastest player on the team off the field, but we'll see what Tim Plow and company have in store for the season. Did get some news this morning, Mike, that was news, but not really news, I guess, but it's finally official that the Big Ten TV rights deal is done. No ESPN, but, lucrative deal, about $1 billion a year, a little over $1 billion for 7-8 years. But you're going to have CBS, Big Ten game in the afternoon, which used to be the SEC window. You're going to have the Big Ten Saturday night game on NBC. Now going along with Sunday night NFL football, you're now going to have a Saturday night Big Ten game on NBC. Fox is in the mix. There's going to be some games on Paramount or Peacock, I guess it is. What do you make of the Big Ten deal and how you think that impacts the Pac-12 and I guess ultimately how that impacts Boise State?
Oh, what a crazy day. It's a historic day. It's the largest media rights deal in the history of college athletics. And I think back to some numbers I saw on the internet a few weeks ago. In 2006, the Big Ten, every Big Ten team was getting $7 million a year in media rights money. Boise State right now gets about $6 million. It's 5.5 plus change. So they're getting close to $6 million now. 15 years ago, the Big Ten was getting $7 million per team. Now I believe that number is somewhere between $60 and $80 million per team. That's how much the price of media rights has gone up in the last 15 years. Crazy, astronomical, life-changing money that's going to change college football for until the end of time. What that means short term, obviously, the Pac-12 has a lot of extra cash now, $400 million that they're going to go off and spend on the Pac-12 or who knows what. You and I talking at practice this morning, you even mentioned that in 2 or 3 years when they start talking to the Mountain West again, does the Mountain West want to get back into business with ESPN because they have so much money and they need the inventory, West Coast, late-night football games. I like the new media rights deal for Boise State now. I think it's more fan-friendly, and I think it's a lot more money than they ever would have gotten. But the ESPN factor is always real, so we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, the Pac-12 has to be very happy. What that means for the Pac-12, I don't know if it's going to keep them together. I don't know if it's going to split them up. I just know that there's going to be a lot of money available.
Yeah, and I do wonder how this trickles down to Boise State. I think that's an interesting thing. And does the possibility for more late night inventory, better TV ratings, make and ESPN has always liked Boise State. I mean, and Boise State's liked ESPN. I mean, that was the one downside. As weird as it is to not see Big Ten games on ESPN moving forward, it was weird last year not having any Boise State games, at home on ESPN. So, do you think how do you think it trickles down to the Boise State level? And does the Pac-12 or Big 12 that have deals with ESPN look to raise those deals and think that a school like Boise State could help that value?
Probably not. I'm going to stick with my horses on that one. Probably not. And just being realistic, I mean, if all of a sudden the ESPN comes back and gives the Pac-12, Pac-10, whatever it is, X amount of dollars because they have X amount of dollars to spend, I don't know if they need to bring somebody in to increase their value. I really don't think a Boise State or a San Diego State is going to increase the media rights package for the Pac-12. And they're not going to move the needle enough to make a difference for the Pac-12 to happen. I think a combination of things are going to have to happen, whether the Big 12 gets involved, whether the Pac-12 gets involved, the Mountain West. We might even be status quo right now. This last wave of change, it might stick for a couple of years. I'm not sure what's going to happen, and I couldn't even begin to predict, and nobody knows what's going on, but I know that there's about $400 million worth of extra money floating around, and somebody's going to get their hands on that.
Hey, we've been broadcasting from the Cutwater Canned Cocktail Studios. Make sure you check out one of their mixed drinks, whether you're at a football tailgate. Don't worry about having to mix it all together, bring all the different stuff. Cutwater Canned Cocktails has already done that for you. They're gluten-free as well, so make sure to check them out at Cutwater Canned Cocktails. Don't forget about our special going on right now, $52 for a full year, just $1 a week using that promo code FALLCAMP22. So just use the promo code FALLCAMP22, and you get a full year subscription for just $52. A lot of exclusive content and columns coming to that, and hope you enjoyed the show yesterday. The Winston Venables Show debuted yesterday, and great stuff from Winston. Really looking forward to this show moving forward. 9 a.m. every Wednesday here at Bronco Nation News, social media channels, bronconationnews.com. The Winston Venables Show yesterday was a great debut, and looking forward to that the rest of the season. Mike, appreciate your time today as always. Unfortunately, the James is not open yet, so I can't partake in a cocktail. Also have to meet back over at Boise State here in about 30 minutes to interview some players and coaches. Looking forward to that. I know you guys will have that coming up today, right? 3 o'clock, you and Johnny, 3 to 6.
Yep, diving into some Boise State football, continue our Pac-12 week, and then tomorrow at 4 o'clock right here on Idaho Sports Talk, BJ Rains with the Bronco Nation News Report. We always love our Friday afternoon hit with you, BJ. So get after it today. Get after those interviews. We'll see you down there, and then we'll see you again tomorrow at 4 right here on Idaho Sports Talk.
Appreciate the comment, Vlad. He says BNN Live is great. Thank you. Big Wade agrees. Thank you guys for checking us out. Thank you to Prater. Thanks to Barry over at the James for letting us hang out today. Again, make sure you come check it out. Downtown Boise, right across the street from Albertson Stadium. They open for happy hour at 3:00. You won't be disappointed. Listen to Prater and Johnny and JP 3 to 6. Come on by the James after work. Should be a fun afternoon for you here on a Thursday. Appreciate it. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks to JP for getting us on, as well as Prater. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Bronco Nation News, Bronco Nation News.